If you think Linux is all about black terminals, complicated commands, and outdated-looking desktops, it is time to change that idea. Modern Linux distributions can look absolutely stunning, and some offer desktop environments that are more customizable, elegant, and visually impressive than Windows 11 or even macOS. Once you see what the right Linux distributions can do with themes, animations, panels, icons, transparency, and layouts, you may wonder why more people do not use them daily. Today, we are looking at 4 Linux distros that can genuinely compete with, and in some areas visually surpass, Windows 11 and macOS combined. Each has a different personality, but all for prove that Linux can be beautiful, modern, and flexible. First on the list is Zorin OS, a distribution designed for people who want Linux to feel familiar without looking boring. Zorin OS is based on Ubuntu, but its biggest attraction is the carefully designed desktop experience. You can choose layouts that resemble traditional Windows, modern Windows, or even a Mac OS-inspired arrangement. The real advantage is that you are not locked into one design philosophy. Zorin lets you change the appearance without spending hours manually modifying system files. Its icons, fonts, menus, animations, and spacing work together, creating an experience that feels like a commercial operating system rather than a hobby project. Zorin OS is also impressive on laptops and older computers because it can provide a modern appearance without demanding extremely powerful hardware. If you want something beautiful, familiar, and easy to transition into, Zorin OS is one of the strongest choices available. Next comes KDE Neon, and this one is for people who want maximum visual control. KDE Neon is built around the KDE Plasma desktop, one of the most customizable desktop environments in the Linux world. Plasma can be minimal and professional, futuristic and colorful, or designed to imitate almost any desktop style you can imagine. You can move panels, resize widgets, change window behavior, adjust transparency, customize animations, and completely redesign the desktop. You can create a clean dock at the bottom, add a modern application launcher, use elegant wallpapers, and configure floating panels that give the desktop a premium appearance. Compared with Windows 11, where many interface elements remain fixed, KDE Plasma gives you control over almost everything. And unlike macOS, you are not restricted to Apple's particular interpretation of desktop design. KDE Neon is essentially a visual playground for people who want their computer to look exactly the way they imagine it. The third distro is Elementary OS, and its philosophy is completely different. Instead of giving you endless customization options, Elementary OS focuses on simplicity, consistency, and a carefully controlled visual identity. Its desktop is inspired by clean design principles associated with macOS, but it is not simply a copy. The interface uses a dock, elegant application menus, subtle animations, rounded elements, and carefully matched system applications. Everything is designed to feel like it belongs together. This makes Elementary OS particularly attractive to users who care about visual harmony more than endless tweaking. Applications are designed with consistent interfaces, and the overall experience feels calm and focused. If Windows 11 sometimes feels visually inconsistent because different parts use different generations of interface design, Elementary OS takes the opposite approach. It attempts to make the entire desktop feel like one coherent product. For users who want a beautiful computer that stays out of their way, Elementary OS can be remarkably satisfying. Finally, there is Garuda Linux, a distro that takes the idea of a beautiful Linux desktop in a completely different direction. Garuda is famous for its dramatic appearance, colorful effects, transparency, glowing elements, and gaming-focused personality. Many editions use KDE Plasma, but the experience is heavily customized to create an immediately recognizable style. Dark themes, vibrant accents, blurred backgrounds, modern panels, and animated elements combine to create a visual experience far removed from the stereotypical Linux desktop. Garuda is also aimed strongly at gamers and enthusiasts, so it includes tools and configurations designed to make getting started easier. Some people prefer minimal interfaces, while others will love the visual intensity. You can make your desktop subtle, professional, playful, or futuristic without waiting for a manufacturer to decide what your computer should look like. So which of these 4 looks better than Windows 11 and macOS? There is no universal winner because beauty is subjective. Zorin OS is probably the easiest recommendation for someone coming from Windows and wanting a polished, familiar interface. KDE Neon is the champion of customization and is perfect for users who want to control every visual detail. Elementary OS is ideal for people who appreciate clean design, simplicity, and consistency. Garuda Linux is the choice for anyone who wants a bold, futuristic desktop that immediately stands out. Linux is not one operating system with one appearance. It is an ecosystem containing dozens of distributions and desktop environments, each capable of delivering a completely different experience. Windows 11 and Mac OS are polished, but their visual identities are largely controlled by their developers. Linux gives you a much wider creative canvas. You can change themes, icons, layouts, wallpapers, widgets, animations, window behavior, and even entire desktop environments. That freedom is what makes Linux so interesting. You are not simply choosing an operating system. You are choosing how you want your computer to feel. And if your idea of Linux still comes from screenshots of old desktops with tiny icons and gray menus, these 4 distributions are proof that the Linux world has moved far beyond that image. Zorin OS, KDE, Neon, Elementary OS, and Garuda Linux show that open-source software can be elegant, modern, expressive, and visually spectacular. In some cases, they do not merely compete with Windows 11 and macOS. They give you something those platforms cannot easily provide: the freedom to redesign the experience around you. That level of freedom is especially valuable for people who spend hours at their computers and want the interface to match their personality and personal style. You can make your desktop subtle, professional, playful, or futuristic without waiting for a manufacturer to decide what your computer should look like.